Hello everyone, welcome to KITCH and More. I'm excited to have you here for today's lesson, which is part of Grade 7 English Quarter 3, Week 6 of the MATATAG curriculum. In this video, we'll explore the fascinating world of newsletters. Over the next few weeks, you'll learn how to create your very own newsletter, and we'll start by reviewing two important types of writing, the expository text and journalistic text. We'll then combine them to put together a compelling newsletter. So, let's get started. Here are the several important topics that will help you create your own newsletter. We'll cover newsletters, expository versus journalistic text, the inverted pyramid in news reports, guidelines for writing headlines, steps in writing a news report, and the writing process for newsletters. By exploring these topics, you'll be fully prepared to put together an informative and engaging newsletter. Now that we know what we'll be learning, let's dive into the first topic. What is a newsletter? A newsletter is a regular publication that shares news, information, and updates with a specific audience. Newsletters are usually designed to keep people informed about important events, news, or changes that affect them. They can be sent out in print or through email, and they often include a variety of topics from announcements to articles and even upcoming events. In the next part of the lesson, we'll explore the purpose of newsletters and why they are such an effective tool for communication. Let's continue. The main job of a newsletter is to inform, that is, to share facts and news with readers. It helps keep everyone updated about important events, announcements, or news. For example, a school newsletter might tell parents about upcoming events or student achievements. Newsletters make sure people stay informed and connected. Let's move on to the next purpose of a newsletter. The next purpose of newsletter is to entertain. A good newsletter keeps readers interested by sharing fun stories or interesting facts. It can include things like funny anecdotes, games, or stories about people in the community. This helps make the newsletter enjoyable to read and keeps readers coming back for more. Now let's look at the next purpose of a newsletter. The last purpose of a newsletter is to persuade. Newsletters can encourage readers to take action, like joining an event, buying a product, or supporting a cause. For example, a school newsletter might invite parents to attend a meeting or sign up for a fundraiser. By persuading readers, newsletters help create excitement and motivate people to get involved. Now let's talk about the newsletter format. A newsletter usually includes several important parts. There are articles. These share news or information about different topics. There are also pictures. Images help make the newsletter more interesting and visually appealing. There are also news reports. These provide updates on events or activities similar to a short news story. And of course, advertisements. These can promote events, products, or services. All these elements work together to make the newsletter informative, fun, and useful for the readers. Now let's have expository versus journalistic writing. Previously, in our lesson, we already talked about these two types of writing, so now let's remember the main differences. Let's take a closer look at expository writing. Expository writing is a type of writing that explains, describes, informs, or clarifies a topic in a clear and logical way. The main goal is to provide facts and details to help the reader understand something better. For example, a science report or a how-to guide is expository writing because it explains how something works or describes a process step by step. Expository writing is all about being clear and informative. Let's have an example. One example of expository writing is writing a comparison and contrast essay. In this type of writing, you compare two or more things, focusing on both how they are similar and how they are different. For example, you might compare two popular indigenous games in the Philippines, like Tumbang Preso and Patintero. You would discuss how they are similar, such as both being traditional Filipino games that require teamwork and physical activity, and how they are different, like the rules, the number of players, and the equipment used in each game. This helps the reader understand both the similarities and differences between the subjects you're writing about. Now let's take a look at the structure of an expository text. An expository text is usually organized in three main parts: the introduction, body, and conclusion. Let's start with the introduction. In an expository text, the introduction is where you introduce the topic. You explain what you'll be discussing or comparing. It's important to give your reader a clear idea of what to expect in the rest of the text. A strong introduction in a comparison and contrast essay should include the following elements. First, start with a hook. Grab the reader's attention with a question, interesting fact, or a short story related to the subject. For example, did you know that Filipino games have been played for generations and each one has its own unique history? Second, introduce the subject. Clearly state what two or more things you will be comparing and contrasting. For instance, in this essay, we will compare the traditional Filipino games of Tumbang Preso and Patintero. Then, present the purpose. Explain why the comparison is important or why it matters. You could say, understanding the differences and similarities between these games helps us appreciate the culture behind them. Lastly, include a thesis statement. The thesis gives your reader a roadmap of your essay. It outlines the main points you will cover. For example, this essay will discuss the rules, equipment, and team dynamics of Tumbang Preso and Patintero, highlighting what makes each game unique. So by including these components, your introduction will clearly set the stage for the rest of the essay. Now let's look at an example of an introduction for a comparison and contrast essay. Did you know that some traditional Filipino games not only entertain but also highlight distinct approaches to physical and mental challenges? Tumbang Preso and Patintero are two beloved Filipino games that continue to bring communities together while showcasing different aspects of skill and strategy. Although both games share the goal of fostering physical agility and teamwork, they differ in how these skills are applied, emphasizing unique strategies and roles. Tumbang Preso focuses on individual precision and quick reflexes, while Patintero highlights the importance of teamwork and coordinated movements, demonstrating the diverse ways these games engage players. This time, let's analyze the parts of this paragraph for introduction. It contains the hook statement. It says, "Did you know that some traditional Filipino games not only entertain but also highlight distinct approaches to physical and mental challenges?" So this is a hook. The hook grabs the reader's attention by presenting an interesting fact about Filipino games and their significance beyond entertainment. Then where is the introduction of the subject in this paragraph? It's here. Tumbang Preso and Patintero are two beloved Filipino games that continue to bring communities together while showcasing different aspects of skill and strategy. So, this introduces the topic by naming the games and explaining their cultural and skill-based importance. Then there is also the presentation of the purpose. It says, although both games share the goal of fostering physical agility and teamwork, they differ in how these skills are applied, emphasizing unique strategies and roles. The purpose explains why the comparison is being made, to examine the differences in how each game fosters distinct skills and strategies. Then, the thesis statement. Tumbang Preso focuses on individual precision and quick reflexes, while Patintero highlights the importance of teamwork and coordinated movements, demonstrating the diverse ways these games engage players. The thesis presents the central idea of the paragraph, summarizing the main argument and setting the focus for the discussion. Now that we've explored an example of an effective introduction, let's move on to the body, the part of the essay where the details come to life. The body is where you list and discuss the similarities and differences between the subjects. This is the heart of the comparison and contrast essay, where you analyze the aspects that make each subject unique while also identifying common elements. Now let's look at two key methods for organizing the content effectively: the point-by-point method and the block method. Let's start with the point-by-point method. Each paragraph discusses one specific aspect and compares how both subjects handle it. Use transition words like similarly, likewise, on the other hand, in contrast, etc. to clarify comparisons. For example, when comparing Tumbang Preso and Patintero, one of the main differences lies in the skills required for each game. In Tumbang Preso, players need to have excellent throwing accuracy and agility, as they must aim slippers at a can while evading the guard. In contrast, Patintero focuses on speed and agility, as players must sprint across lines while avoiding being tagged by the opposing team. Another key difference is the type of strategy involved in each game. Tumbang Preso relies on individual strategy, where players need to think quickly about when and how to throw their slippers without getting caught. On the other hand, Patintero requires teamwork and coordination, as players must work together to cross the line successfully. Overall, while both games involve physical skills, they differ in the focus on individual precision versus group coordination. As you can see in this example of the point-by-point method, it first contrasts the skills required. Tumbang Preso focuses on throwing accuracy and agility, while Patintero emphasizes speed and agility. The transition words like in contrast helps clarify this difference. Then, it compares the strategies. Tumbang Preso relies on individual strategy, whereas Patintero requires teamwork and coordination, highlighted by on the other hand. The paragraph concludes by reinforcing the difference between individual precision in Tumbang Preso and group coordination in Patintero. In the point-by-point method, you compare or contrast specific details about each subject in the same paragraph. This method helps show how two subjects are similar or different by focusing on certain points and making a direct comparison between them. Now that we've explored the point-by-point method, let's take a look at the block method. Unlike the point-by-point method, this method involves discussing all aspects of one subject first, followed by the comparison of the second subject. It's another effective way to organize a comparison, especially when you want to give a detailed overview of each subject before drawing direct comparisons. Let's take the example. Tumbang Preso requires players to focus on individual skills such as throwing accuracy and agility. Players aim to hit a can with slippers while avoiding the guard, requiring precise movements and quick reflexes. Strategies plays an important role as players need to decide when to throw their slippers and avoid being caught by the guard. The game is largely based on personal skill and quick thinking. In contrast, Patintero relies more on teamwork and group coordination. Players must sprint quickly to cross lines while avoiding being tagged by the opposing team. The game emphasizes speed and agility, but success largely depends on how well players can coordinate with one another. While individual speed is important, Patintero's success is determined by the collective strategy of the group rather than individual precision. This is an example of a block method because the paragraph first discusses Tumbang Preso in full detail before transitioning to Patintero. Here's why. First, all aspects of one subject are discussed first. The first paragraph focuses entirely on Tumbang Preso, covering its required skills, strategy, and the game's overall focus on individual precision. It provides a complete overview of Tumbang Preso before moving to the next game. Second, transition to the second subject. After discussing Tumbang Preso, the paragraph then shifts to Patintero in the second part, starting with the sentence, "In contrast, Patintero." This transition clearly separates the discussion of the two subjects. Then lastly, direct comparison at the end. While the paragraph does not directly compare the two games within the body, it sets up the comparison by explaining the differences in how the two games are played. Tumbang Preso emphasizing individual skills, while Patintero focusing on teamwork and group coordination. Thus, this follows the block method by discussing one subject completely before moving to the next subject, allowing for a clear distinction between the two before concluding the comparison. Let's move on to understanding how to craft an effective conclusion. A conclusion has the following components. First, summary of main points. A concise restatement of the key arguments or points discussed in the body of the writing. It highlights the most important ideas, providing a recap for the reader. Then second is final thought or judgment. This is the last idea or conclusion presented in the writing. It often reflects on the significance of the topic, offering a thoughtful perspective, opinion, or suggestion for further reflection. There's also the closure, the part of the conclusion that wraps up the discussion and brings the writing to a satisfying end. It ensures that all major points have been addressed and provides a sense of completion. And the last one is reinforcement of the thesis. This refers to restating or reinforcing the central idea or argument of the essay. The conclusion should remind the reader of the main thesis and demonstrate how the body of the text supports or proves it. Let's take a look at an example. In conclusion, while Tumbang Preso and Patintero share certain similarities in requiring physical abilities and quick reflexes, they diverge significantly in their focus on individual versus group strategies. Tumbang Preso emphasizes precision and agility, requiring players to think quickly on their own, while Patintero values speed and coordination among teammates to avoid being tagged. These differences highlight the unique aspects of each game and show how varied the approaches to teamwork and personal skill can be in Filipino traditional games. Let's see if it follows the components of a good conclusion. Here, it contains the summary of main points, and it's stated like this. In conclusion, while Tumbang Preso and Patintero share certain similarities in requiring physical abilities and quick reflexes, they diverge significantly in their focus on individual versus group strategies. Then there is also the reinforcement of the thesis. Tumbang Preso emphasizes precision and agility, requiring players to think quickly on their own, while Patintero values speed and coordination among teammates to avoid being tagged. And lastly, there is what we call the final thought or judgment. These differences highlight the unique aspects of each game and show how varied the approaches to teamwork and personal skill can be in Filipino traditional games. Now that we've explored how to conclude a comparison essay, let's shift our focus to a different type of writing, journalistic writing. What is a journalistic writing? You've learned about this in the previous lesson, but let's take this again today. What is journalistic writing? Journalistic writing is the style used for news reports. Its goal is to inform the reader about recent events in a clear and quick way. For example, a news report that tells people about an event like a school sports competition or a local festival. Let's take a look at one of the key features of journalistic text. It's the inverted pyramid structure. The inverted pyramid structure helps organize information in a way that prioritizes the most important details first. It includes the headline, lead, body, and details. Let's explore it further. What is a headline? The headline serves as a short, attention-grabbing introduction that draws the reader in, encouraging them to read further. In the next slides, we will explore how a well-crafted headline can set the tone for the article. But let's have this example first. JDC School hosts Palarong Pinoy for students. This headline is concise and clear, highlighting the key event, the organizer, which is JDC School, and the participants, the students. It grabs attention and sparks curiosity. Now, let us have the lead. The lead is the first paragraph of a news article where the most important information is presented. It sets the stage for the rest of the story by answering key questions and providing essential details. Here's an example. JDC School recently held a fun-filled Palarong Pinoy event on January 12, 2025 at the school sports complex. Students participated in traditional Filipino games like sack race, patintero, and tumbang preso, celebrating Filipino culture and fostering teamwork among participants. This lead effectively provides the most important details right away. It answers key questions such as who, which is JDC School, what, which is Palarong Pinoy event, when, that is January 12, 2025, where, the school sports complex, and what happened is students participated in traditional games. The lead sets the tone for the article and provides a clear, engaging overview of the event. The next part of a news article is the body. This section provides more detailed information, facts, and background, helping to expand on the initial summary. Let's explore how the body gives depth to the story. Here is an example. It was amazing to see students come together, not just for the competition, but to celebrate our rich cultural heritage, said Principal Reyes. The school also conducted indigenous games, offering students the opportunity to engage in activities that highlight the traditions of indigenous communities. This body paragraph adds more details to the story. The quotes from the Principal Reyes shows the importance of the event, not just as a competition, but as a celebration of cultural heritage. The mention of indigenous games gives readers more information about the activities at the event, showing how students learned about and connected with Filipino traditions. This helps readers understand the full significance of the event. Finally, we have the details section. This part of the news article provides specific information and examples that support the main story, helping to add depth and clarity. Consider this example. The event was a huge success, with parents and faculty cheering on the students as they competed. JDC School plans to make Palarong Pinoy an annual tradition, continuing to promote sportsmanship, unity, and pride in Filipino culture within the school community. This detail adds more context and highlights the success of the event. It not only describes the enthusiastic support from parents and faculty, but also reveals the school's intention to continue the event annually. By mentioning the values of sportsmanship, unity, and pride in Filipino culture, it strengthens the story's main message and gives readers a clear idea of the event's lasting impact on the school community. Now that we've covered the structure of news article, let's focus on an important element, the headline. Crafting a good headline is crucial because it captures the reader's attention. Let's explore some guidelines for writing a headline. The first guideline for writing an effective headline is to keep it short. A good headline should be between 5 to 10 words to make it quick and easy to read. For example, JDC School hosts Palarong Pinoy for students. It is concise and gets straight to the point, giving readers a clear idea of the story. The next guideline is to use the simple present tense. Even the event has already happened, we use present tense to make the headline more direct and engaging. Let's take a look at this example and figure out which verb is correct. For example, JDC School hosts, host, or hosted. Let's study this before giving the answer. We have 3 verbs to choose from. First is the verb hosts, which is in the present tense and singular. Next is host, which is present tense but plural in form. Finally, hosted, which is in the past tense. Now let's look at the subject, JDC School. Since it is singular, we use the verb hosts because the rule is to use a singular verb for a singular subject. So, the correct answer is JDC School hosts Palarong Pinoy for students. Let's now proceed to the second guideline, and that is use active voice. The subject should do or perform the action. For example, which sentence here is in the active voice? A. JDC School hosts Palarong Pinoy for students. B. Palarong Pinoy for students hosted by JDC School. Look at the headline in letter A. The subject is JDC School, which performs the action of the verb hosts, and that action is received by the object Palarong Pinoy for students. This is the correct way of writing the headline because active voice makes the sentence clear, direct, and engaging, giving emphasis to the subject performing the action. But look at letter B, Palarong Pinoy for students hosted by JDC School. Here, the object which now becomes the subject is Palarong Pinoy for students, which is receiving the action of the passive verb hosted. The action is performed by JDC School, but it comes after the verb in the passive construction. This is not the best way to write a headline because passive voice makes the sentence less direct and can make it less engaging. It shifts the focus away from the subject performing the action, which is JDC School, and places it on the object, which is Palarong Pinoy for students, which is not ideal for grabbing attention in a headline. The next one is no conjunctions. In headlines, it's best to avoid conjunctions like and, or, and like because they make the headline longer and less direct. Instead of using conjunctions, separate ideas with commas to keep the headline concise and impactful. This way, readers can quickly understand the main message without getting distracted by unnecessary words. The last one is capitalize properly. Always capitalize the first letter of the first word and proper nouns. So you can see here an example. First one is incorrect. As you can see, all the letters, including the proper nouns, are written in small letters. But the second one is correct. We are capitalizing, of course, the first letter of the first word, and since it is an acronym of the school, so we are using the capital letters as it is also a proper noun. Now that we've covered the essential guidelines for writing a headline, let's move on to the next important part of journalistic writing, which is the process of crafting a news report. Before you begin writing a news report, it's essential to identify the core event that will grab the attention of your audience. Choosing the right event is crucial when writing a news report. You need to focus on something that is both important and interesting to your audience. So ask yourself, why should people care about this event? Is it something that affects a large group of people? Does it bring new or exciting information? Will it engage or surprise your readers? Those are the questions that you really need to ask in identifying the newsworthy event. Then, we have compile facts. Once you've identified a newsworthy event, the next crucial step is to compile the facts. When writing a news report, it's important to gather accurate and reliable facts that are directly related to the event. Facts are objective details that can be verified and help tell the story. Here are some examples of facts to include: the date, when did the event take place? This location, where did it occur? What happened? What were the key actions or events that took place? These facts form the foundation of your report, ensuring your audience receives the most accurate and relevant information. The next one is write the lead. Begin your report with the most important and attention-grabbing facts. This is where you provide a concise summary of the key details that your readers need to know right away. For example, JDC School recently held a fun-filled Palarong Pinoy event on January 12, 2025 at the school sports complex. Students participated in traditional Filipino games like sack race, patintero, and tumbang preso, celebrating Filipino culture and fostering teamwork among participants. This lead highlights the who, what, where, when, and why, giving the reader a clear idea of the event right from the start. Next, write the body. In the body of your news report, provide supporting details that add depth to your story. Organize the information in the order of importance, starting with the most crucial facts. Use the inverted pyramid style where the most critical details come first, followed by less important facts. Then, once your report is written, carefully revise and edit it to ensure clarity and accuracy. Check for grammatical errors, awkward phrasing, or unclear points. Make sure the information flows logically and that the report is concise yet comprehensible. Also, verify the facts and ensure the names, dates, and places are correct. A well-edited report is key to keeping the readers engaged and providing them with reliable information. And once your report is finalized, it's time to include it in your newsletter. Organize the layout by placing the headline at the top, followed by the lead, body, and supporting details in a clear format. Ensure proper spacing between sections and alignment with the newsletter's theme, making the report both informative and easy to read. Now that we've explored the components of a news report, let's shift our focus to the final topic, the writing process for a newsletter. Pre-writing is the planning stage before you begin drafting your newsletter. During this phase, you can use tools like a Venn diagram to compare and contrast ideas visually, help you clearly see similarities and differences. You can also use outlining to organize your ideas into sections, ensuring your content flows logically and covers all the important points. This step sets a strong foundation for your writing process. Now, drafting is the stage where you write the first version of your article or news report. Focus on getting your ideas down on paper without worrying too much about grammar or mistakes. It's writing from the heart. This allows you to organize your thoughts and create a rough structure for your content. You can always revise and improve later, so the key is to start writing. Revising involves reviewing your draft to improve the clarity of your ideas and the organization of your content. Add more relevant details to support your points, and remove unnecessary information that might distract from your main message. This step helps strengthen your report and ensures it flows smoothly to the reader. Editing is the process of carefully checking your draft for any spelling, grammar, and punctuation errors. This step ensures that your report is polished and professional, making it easier for your readers to understand and engage with the content. Publishing is the final step, where you finalize your article or report, ensuring it's clear, concise, and error-free. Once it's ready, you share it in the appropriate newsletter format, making sure it looks good and easy to read for your audience. That's a wrap for today's discussion. Thank you for joining today's session. I hope you now feel more confident in the process of writing an expository text and news report for a newsletter. Best of luck with your writing. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to KITCH and More, and ring the bell for notifications for more exciting and informative videos. Stay curious and see you in the next one. Bye!